Hi, we're Nick and Tyler, and we live in a van.
Hello, and welcome to our bonus video for the week.
Last time we did jazz hands.
Jazz hands! Yay!
So today we're going to go over 8 things we did before we moved into the van that has made life way easier.
Highly recommend doing any/all of these about a month to 3 weeks before you move into your vehicle full time. These will make your life so easy.
The other thing we'll preface before we jump in is that this is what really works for us. So if you don't like any of these, great. You don't have to. This is what we like and this is what works for us.
Yeah. So, number 1 is gym membership. So what we've done is we have gotten the Planet Fitness membership. It works really well for us because if you have the bougie membership, which lets you go into any Planet Fitness in the country, you get to bring another person with you. So we pay for one membership and we both get to use it. It's great for us to shower and do all of the things that we need to do. So it's really great. Highly recommend doing that before you leave, is knowing if you are going to do a gym membership, which one you're going to do. And if you do it, it will save your life because you can shower whenever you want.
It's also pretty nice if you're doing a lot of driving and it's bad weather, because you can go in and still get some sort of movement, so you're not just sitting in the same spot for hours. So you can actually get some sort of activity in, even if the weather's bad.
Yeah.
Number 2 on the list of things is Starlink or some sort of internet. We went with Starlink because it works the best for our needs. We were going to be in a lot of remote spots. We knew we were going to be in a lot of remote spots also in the city and stuff. So we needed something that could kind of cover and handle both of those different ranges of areas. And Starlink had the best kind of bang for your buck.
So there's tons of different options, but something you really need to consider is what you're going to do for internet. A lot of people do just hotspots and they pay extra to have more hotspot. That can be really helpful. I've used a hotspot randomly when I don't want to pull up Starlink. It's really helpful. But a lot of the times we needed coverage in really weird spots. So Everglades National Park, no cell service, but we had internet. Death Valley National Park, no cell service, we had internet. So for us, we wanted to find something that was not related to our cell phones, that we could kind of have both. That in situations where maybe Starlink's a little bit slower because we're in a city, we have our hotspot. But in most situations, Starlink's working great.
Totally. The only thing to keep in mind with that is that you do have another expense, a monthly expense. So we pay a monthly amount for Starlink to work. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for internet, because you're probably going to have that added to your monthly expenses.
Number 3 is doing some type of membership so that you can stay places. There's a few different options that I've heard of. A lot of people use the 1,000 trails or 1,000 mile membership for campgrounds. The one that we suggest all the time is doing a Harvest Host membership. You pay an annual fee of between $100 and $160, depending on which membership you want. And that's for the entire year. So you pay $100 for the year or $160 for the year, and you can stay at places all across the country, wineries, breweries, farms, people's houses, golf courses, all over the U.S. And they encourage you to spend money while you're there at the business. But you can stay at all of these places.
Tyler's done an immense amount of research on Harvest Host, and she's very passionate about it. So she could go on for hours about,
I really could.
about why Harvest Host is so cool. So that's typically what we use. It's usually the easiest. And it's just really
cheap.
convenient. It's really cheap. It's really convenient. And it's beautiful. We stay in some really amazing spots because of Harvest Host.
If you need a lot of hookups, Harvest Host may not always be the best option, so that's why I'm suggesting also looking into other memberships for different campgrounds or different things like that. But if you have access to be off the grid for a few days, maybe 3 to 4 nights a week, Harvest Host,
So nice.
well worth it.
So nice.
Well worth it.
The other
Save
thing,
so much money.
yeah. So number 4 that we want to talk about, National Parks Pass. So there are obviously a ton of national parks throughout the U.S. And if you get a pass, it's an annual membership, just like Harvest Host. You pay it once and you can go into any of the national parks. The only thing you'll have to do most likely is if you're going to camp there, you might have to pay a hookup fee or a camping fee, but your entry fee will be covered.
And I mean, it's $80. And if you go to 2 national parks, it pays for itself. So for ours, we bought ours when we were going through Zion National Park in Utah. We've been to Death Valley with it. We've been to White Sands National Park. We've been to Everglades. We went to a national seashore spot in Pensacola. So all these places that it was free basically for us to go into because we just paid the $80 up front. And yet we got to go see these really dope places. So highly recommend National Parks Pass. If you're living in a van, you're going to want to see the national park anyways. So you might as well just spend the money, get yourself a pass, and then you can go out of your way to go see them. Number 5, this one was very important. My dad talked to us a lot about the importance of this. He is an insurance guy. So number 5 is to make sure to clarify your insurance. Make sure you have an RV insurance. Make sure that everything that you own inside your vehicle is covered. That's why RV insurance is important and not just doing auto insurance. Also, make sure you know how much coverage you have and where that coverage is. So if it's just in the US, don't go to Mexico without getting a Mexican card.
And that was something that we didn't understand or that we didn't realize before. And so Bill was really nice to let us know before we decided to book a trip and go to Baja that our insurance only covers 25 miles into Mexico. So that's okay if you still want to go, but you just have to book and get different insurance while you're down there. So just make sure you're double checking and triple checking those things, because you don't want to be in the middle of another country and find out that you're not covered by any insurance and then have to have that stress on top of your awesome vacation.
Yeah, and you also want to make sure that if you get in a car accident even here in the US, that your van or vehicle is covered for what is in it. So if you're only doing an auto insurance, that means none of your build out is covered. So if you spent $40,000 to renovate your van, that sucks. They're only going to give you money for your vehicle. And so for us, we have an RV insurance on our van. So we bought it for $75,000. It's covered up to that amount. So if we got in a car accident, that's what they're going to look at.
So just make sure to read the fine print. Really make sure and read the fine print on your insurance.
Find someone that you trust. If you're in Utah,
Bill Hudson.
I think he also does Arizona and Nevada. Providence Insurance. Yeah.
Our next one
Number
of things
6
that we wanted to do, download or get access to some sort of app or some sort of website that gives you access to cheap gas. So a overall aerial view of how much is the gas in this area, where can you go to get it, and how much does it cost. So we use Gas Buddy. That's the app that we typically go to. Whenever we need to fill up, we always check Gas Buddy before we just go and top off our tank, even if it's just a couple gallons, because Gas Buddy gives you the best price in the area, and so you don't have to pay top dollar for diesel. So here in New Jersey, we topped off the other day and it was 30 or 40 cents cheaper than all the surrounding areas because we use Gas Buddy.
Yeah, and something to keep in mind is you can use this whether you have a diesel van or a gas van. And if you're traveling the country, you're going to be wanting to pay attention to how much you're paying for gas. So you're going to use it a lot.
But yeah, you can use it for all types of fuel types. So even if you're just driving 10 hours to a different state, Gas Buddy is great because it covers all of those prices. You can look up by fuel type in your vehicle and you can get the cheapest gas.
Yeah, it's just really important to just save some cash here and there. So it's a great one. The next one, number 7, is to get a credit card that has great cash back or points with gas. So that's kind of going back to that first one, to the last one we were just talking about. You're going to be spending a lot of money in gas if you're living in a vehicle. Obviously that's going to change on how far you're driving and what's going on, but you should probably be getting bang for your buck.
So yeah, some people talk about travel hacking, and I think this is just being a little bit more intentional with your expenses. So this has really helped us a lot because we have a couple credit cards that give us cash back or give us points back when we fill up the tank. So we're not just spending a certain amount and just saying goodbye, see you later, and never getting anything back from it. But it's very similar to travel hacking with other credit cards, how you would hack flights or hack hotels. Same thing, you're just doing it with gas.
Yeah, so 2 cards that we have, just to kind of give you an idea. I have the City Premier card. It gives you 3 times the points on gas. That is our gas card. That's basically all we use that card for, and we pay it off immediately. But it's great because we get 3 times the points just for getting gas. If we would have put that on my Chase Sapphire Preferred, we get 1 times the points. Obviously, you can use those points in different ways, but for us, it's worth it to have a different credit card to give us 3 times the points because it's going to go further.
So I also have the Amex Blue Cash Preferred, which gives me 2 to 3 times cash back on the purchases, if I remember that correctly. We don't use it very often because we typically just use the City Premier card.
But
That's
if
our
you
main
like,
gas card.
so like everybody's a little bit different. We're not huge cashback people. We like using points to travel hack. So like the other night we just stayed in a hotel in New Jersey just because we had the points and we wanted to. And then, but some people really like cash back. And so Nick's card is really great because it gives like 3 times the point or 3% back on getting gas. And that's really nice. That's what we want.
The only thing that I would say with those is that you have to be pretty specific and read the fine print in the credit cards about what gas stations are allowed. So I was really excited because I was like, oh, this is going to be great because we have a Costco membership and we can go and get gas there and it's going to be cheaper and we'll get points back. Some of them don't cover like big supermarkets for gas. So you have to be really specific and read the fine print of what they say of what is covered and when they'll give you cash back and when they won't.
So yeah, just something to keep in mind. Something else we just want to like disclaimer right here. We love credit cards. We use them very responsibly. So we only spend what we have in our account. We're never going to go over. We try really hard not to carry a balance very often. We pay everything off. If you do not do it that way and you are carrying large balances on your credit card, it can totally negate the whole reason for getting this, which is points. If you're spending way above your means, there's no reason for you to have it because you are actually losing way more money than getting points would give you. So just to clarify,
Use responsibly.
highly recommend if you like can and you feel confident doing so. If you don't feel confident in your ability to not spend all of your balance, don't do it.
Our last one, number 8, is find a central place to send your mail to. So for us, we use Tyler's parents' house, which is in St. George, and that's a very central place because it's kind of like where both of our families are at in terms of location. So if we ever need to get mail sent there that's urgent, with our permission, they can open up that mail and send us pictures of it. And we don't really have to worry about like missing a bill or like if we went through a toll and like we need to get that paid right away, they'll open it with our permission and send it to us so we can be aware of what's happening.
Yeah, so that's just something that I don't think I really thought about until we were about to leave, and I was like, oh frick, I'm gonna have
What do we
like
do
credit
with all
card
this?
statements come or like insurance stuff, things like that need to go somewhere. And so family is really nice just because with our permission they open it. If you send it to like a specific PO box, if you're not checking it all the time, you may miss something. So do that at your own risk. But highly recommend finding somewhere for your mail to go.
So those are our 8 tips
Thanks for watching this.
moving into a van. This has super helped our life and
Yeah.
made it so much easier. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.